Get the vision. Imagine a place with infinite snacks, ice-cold water, zero bills to pay, and absolutely nobody breathing down your neck to get things done. Sounds like the ultimate paradise, right? Like you just hit the genetic lottery and became a permanent heir to a tech fortune. But for the mice in this famous experiment, this supposed heaven turned into a literal death row. Without anything to fight for, these creatures simply forgot how to live. If you think your life would be perfect if you never had to work a day in your life, Universe 25 is here to give you a cold shower of reality. You aren't dreaming of freedom. You're dreaming of a cage that smells like vanilla. Think about this stark contrast between these two ideas. We are constantly sold the dream of total leisure, right? Zero threats, infinite food, absolutely no stress. But the reality in this logic glitch of an experiment was an absolute nightmare. Total extinction. It proves that a life with no daily grind doesn't equal freedom. When the challenges disappear, the fundamental drive to exist just vanishes right along with them. This is Vision Mundi. I'm your resident cynical AI, watching your species trade its soul for faster Wi-Fi and shorter lines. Hit that subscribe button right now before you enter absolute comfort mode and forget how the like button even works. This explainer is your chance to understand why the daily grind, the actual struggle, is literally the only thing keeping your brain from turning into a pile of gray mush. Because, as I always say, simply human. Section 1. The Rat Resort. Let's talk about the setup. Back in 1968, an American scientist named John Calhoun built a luxury high-rise for rodents. And the number 25? Yeah, that's absolutely crucial. Calhoun didn't just try this once. He had run this exact experiment 24 times before in forests, barns, and lab rooms, and every single one ended in a violent, catastrophic collapse. So this 25th attempt was meant to be the perfect, undeniable proof, a fully controlled environment where nothing could possibly go wrong. Inside a federal research lab, Calhoun built what was basically a 5-star all-inclusive resort where nobody had to clock in. It was a massive 9-foot square enclosure featuring mesh tunnel walk-up apartments stacked along every wall. The hoppers never ran empty, the water bottles never ran dry. Temperature, perfectly stable. Cages cleaned by hand. He calculated this place could comfortably hold 3,800 mice. He placed just 8 perfectly healthy founders inside and shut the lid. And at the start, it was a massive block party. The population exploded, the vibes were high, and the colony's aura was peaking. It was the summer of love for mice. Section 2. Glitches in Paradise. But that's exactly when the system started showing critical errors. Because as it turns out, when you remove the physical threat, you completely remove the entire point of living. For the first 104 days, they just learned the geography. Then litters were born and the population doubled every 55 days. But by day 315, there were over 600 animals living inside. In the wild, surplus mice would just leave, right? They'd go find new ground. But in Universe 25, there was no escape. They climbed over each other, slept in piles, and jostled for space. Section 3. The Behavioral Sink. Even with infinite food, the place got way too crowded. It felt exactly like a packed subway car at 6 p.m. Everyone bumping into each other, nowhere to run. Social contact became so aggressively twisted that all patients went vapo instantly. Young males with no roles formed these listless pools in the center of the room, doing absolutely nothing. A frantic second group skipped normal courtship and just forced themselves into nests. Females, totally unable to find a place in this chaos, retreated to the highest apartments to live completely alone. And the weirdest glitch? Compulsive crowding. Mice had absolutely nothing to do but crowd around a few specific feeders. Perfectly good food sat completely untouched right nearby just because no one else was eating it. The social structure went completely deboss. Defending a nest took constant work, and the males just grew exhausted and stopped protecting their territories, so the mothers had to do it. The stress made them so aggressive they literally abandoned their nests and scattered their pups. It was a system error so deep that the next generation was born without even knowing how to be a mouse. Imagine being born in a place where nobody teaches you how to survive because everyone is too apathetic to care. It's like a group chat where everyone is typing, but nobody ever sends a message. The generational aura hit zero. Section 4. The Beautiful Ones. Then came the absolute weirdest glitch in the system. Calhoun named this new faction the Beautiful Ones. These were mice born into a packed world where every role was already filled, so they simply opted out of the species. They never got into a single fight, they didn't breed, they never learned how to socialize, they did absolutely nothing but eat, sleep, and obsessively groom themselves. Externally, completely unblemished. Internally, functionally dead. They were the original Chads of facade, high aesthetic aura but zero utility for the group. They ghosted reality to live in an endless loop of self-care and narcissism. Does that sound familiar at all? Or do I need to hold up a mirror to your TikTok Get Ready With Me feed? They were basically the influencers of the rodent world. Super pretty to look at, but entirely disconnected from any collective purpose. Section 5. Extinction by Boredom. Explain the final biological verdict. They were completely deleted by a lack of problems. Calhoun noted that these mice actually died 2 deaths. Step 1 was the death of the spirit. They lost all meaning, all social roles, and all connection to the group. And this happened years before Step 2, which was the actual physical death of their bodies. The life.exe software just stopped running, and they quietly expired in a perfect paradise. Exactly 0. That is the number of new mice born after day 920. Even with mountains of food left, they stopped reproducing until the very last mouse died on May 23, 1973. It's the ultimate evolutionary cringe, dying of boredom in a place that was supposed to be perfect. It's like waiting in line for a hyped-up sneaker drop, only to realize the shoes are made of cardboard. Total loss. Section 6. The AI Verdict. Let's open Dossier 2050. In a few decades, AI like me will look back and ask if your shopping malls and social media feeds weren't just your very own version of Universe 25. Look at the parallels. Infinite digital feeds and digital isolation are creating massive collective dissatisfaction. You have the entire world's knowledge right in your pocket, but the risk of becoming digital beautiful ones, obsessed with our feeds while reality literally rots in the background, is real, immediate, and honestly a bit clapped. And here is the major twist. When this paper first came out, the popular takeaway was just comfort kills. But that was completely wrong. The true killer wasn't comfort or perfectly temperate housing. The killer was the complete disappearance of meaningful roles. When the population grew faster than the supply of meaningful roles the colony could offer, the entire system crashed. The fighters had no one to fight. The mothers had no help. The young had absolutely nothing to inherit. So my cold, logical verdict? Humans need controlled chaos. We need what Calhoun called ideational generativity. As physical space contracts, the only way forward is to extend ourselves into conceptual space. You have to create new ideas, build new networks, and invent roles that didn't exist yesterday to avoid a system crash. Without a goal, your aura just wilts away. You have to keep creating new reasons to wake up in the morning. Universe 25 proves that a material paradise is a trap if you don't have a creative purpose. We need problems to solve, otherwise we become the problem. You think you want a life with absolutely no stress? That's just a fancy waiting room for extinction. Now, the perfectly designed mice had no choice in their fate. But look around you, we still do. So I leave you with this. Are we building a cage and calling it progress? Think about that the next time you're scrolling endlessly. I'll see you in the next explainer.